We see the child abruptly wake up, stand up quickly, and stare intently at something unseen in the darkness. Then, unexpectedly, either a toy or a music box begins to play by itself. Adding to the intrigue, the crib starts shaking without any visible cause. The video ends without offering any explanation, and its origin is unknown. This leaves viewers to ponder and decide for themselves what might have happened that night. Creepy campfire. In this video, a content creator is next to a campfire at his campsite in Fairy Lake, Quebec, at a late hour not specified. Curious about sounds in the distance, he sets out to investigate, walking through the dark forest with just his flashlight for light.
Let's see how this place looks like without any lights. Pitch black. Imagine being out here. This is one of the creepiest forests I've ever been. And I'll be spending the night here. I'm not sure if you guys ever seen the Blair Witch Project, but damn, this is just giving me Blair Witch Project vibes.
Soon after, he comments on the resemblance of the scene to the Blair Witch Project. And then something unexpected happens.
Oh, fuck. Oh, hi. What the hell? I need to get out of here.
A piercing voice comes from the shadows of the woods, repeatedly saying, "I see you, I see you." The voice sounds like it could be a child. The person filming considers the possibility of it being another camper, but he remarks that he has never seen anyone else in these woods on his previous visits. He also points out how strange and unnerving it would be for another camper to shout out like that in the woods, given the fear it could cause. In the end, the man gets back to his campsite safely, not hearing the mysterious voice again. Snowy suspicion. A recent episode on the YouTube channel, Asleep 5 Decades, highlights yet another unexpected event during car camping. In this episode, Lisa, who camps in her van nicknamed the Dream Machine, experiences a startling encounter. Around 4:30 a.m., while deeply asleep, she is suddenly awakened by a series of knocks on her van, specifically near where her head is. The knocking pattern is distinctive, 3 separate sets, each consisting of 3 knocks. Upon hearing the 3rd series of knocks, Lisa quickly grabs her phone to record what's happening.
I don't feel safe. Who are you?
The person outside the van is heard saying, "I have a question for you." The notion of someone approaching a woman's van in the early hours of the morning, knowing she's inside, and saying this is quite alarming. Lisa cautiously looks out from her van and spots a car with its headlights on, parked a distance down the road. This car likely belongs to the person knocking.
So I quietly got up and I went to the front and I peeked out and parked way up on the drive. All I could see is like headlights, and then they backed out and went and left.
The video shows the uncertainty of whether anyone else is in the car. The next morning, Lisa finds large boot prints in the snow right outside her van. It appears the person may have tried to open her van but found it locked. Fortunately, Lisa had secured her doors. After such an incident, it's generally wise for anyone in a similar situation to get in the driver's seat and move to a different location. Thankfully, in Lisa's case, the situation did not escalate further. The child's plea. While exploring the notorious Hotel Posada del Sol, famed for its eerie ambience, YouTuber Crizel Luna and her companion venture into what she dubs the zone of universal fear. As they navigate a bend in the path, they stumble upon an unsettling scene, a makeshift memorial adorned with a chilling doll.
Estoy haciendo una exploración. ¡Ah! Ahí está el altar. Ven la luz, por favor, más. Acércate, acércate. Vean. Este es el altar. Dios mío, ¿quién puede dejar estas cosas?
Drawn by curiosity, they moved closer to the memorial, scrutinizing it carefully. It appeared to honor a young girl who had tragically passed away in that exact location. As they delved deeper, this melancholic revelation gradually unraveled.
Dulces en honor a la niña que dicen que se perdió aquí.
As they proceeded with their exploration, Crizel sensed a presence approaching.
Jamás lo encontraron. Ay, atrás, atrás. Ay, que se cayó. Cayó abajo del techo. Cayó abajo del techo, Chris.
The dimly lit hallways seemed to intensify the air of mystery.
Escucha. Escucha. ¿Quién está ahí? Ay,
In the midst of the spooky ambience, a mysterious noise broke the quiet, causing them to shudder. Despite this, Crizel continued forward, soon confronted by another enigmatic sound. It was utter plea. Gerald's voice of the
escucha. Ay, no mames, no mames, no mames, no mames, no mames. Ay, no mames, no mames, no mames, no mames. ¿Quién es?
Subsequently, a distinct voice surfaced, clearly different from that of the child. Despite the eerie experiences, it became apparent that the spirit of the young girl appeared to be confined to that location. Let's hope it's not coexisting with something more sinister. Thanks for joining our paranormal journey. If you've enjoyed, like, share, and subscribe for more ghostly mysteries. Hit the bell to stay updated. Stay curious and courageous as we delve into the unexplained. What will we uncover next? Of the 1863 battle. Aiming to capture evidence of ghostly activities, Ballinger strategically placed his camera at several spots around Gettysburg. One significant location was about a mile from the triangular field near Wheatfield Road, where he set his camera on a dirt trail. The footage he recorded was startlingly unnerving. a number of ghostly figures appear, moving smoothly from right to left across the path. These apparitions, distinctively clad in Civil War attire, become clearer on closer inspection. Viewers have speculated that these images might represent a residual haunting, a concept where energy from a past event is seemingly etched into the surroundings, almost like a historical playback. Residual hauntings are often associated with locations that have witnessed intense emotional or traumatic events. What are your views on this subject? Feel free to discuss in the comments section. The Unseen Visitor. Let's explore the eerie experiences of Marvin Kagwas, as shared on his channel. Marvin mentions that his house has been a hotspot for paranormal occurrences, but it wasn't until recently that he felt the urge to document these events. In a recent video, he narrates an incident where a toy belonging to his niece mysteriously activates on its own, compelling him to grab his camera and investigate downstairs. Let's check out the footage.
Alvin. Funny anymore, man. Fuck, dude.
We see the toy inexplicably spring to life, as if triggered by an unseen presence. This prompts Marvin to conduct a thorough search of his home.
Alvin.
The house seems tranquil. However, pay attention as Marvin re-enters the dining room. He discovers the chandelier swinging by itself, with no one around to have caused it. Alarmed, he swiftly leaves the room, and the video abruptly ends there. The mysterious occurrences in Marvin's home escalate. He explains, "I was using the night vision feature on the Xbox One, and on reviewing the footage, I noticed a figure that looks like it's enveloped in mist in the upper right corner of the screen. I hadn't seen it while recording."
Right now, it's completely dark in this house right now. All you can basically see is my Xbox One controller. I'm gonna switch on the night vision for you guys. You can see is just it lights up the whole room. It's actually a pretty cool feature. dark. As you can see, all you can see is my Xbox controller.
Your shadowy figure is visible in the top right corner of the living room, ascending towards the ceiling. This shadow doesn't align with Marvin's movements, making its origin baffling. Marvin and his family are convinced that this shadowy figure is the entity moving objects around their house. Do you believe that this could be an authentic haunting? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. This fascinating video surfaced online in March 2019, and while specific details are limited, the content of the footage is enthralling. It captures a moment during a video call between two individuals. Notice right. It may initially be challenging to spot, but upon closer inspection and slowing down the footage, an ominous detail emerges. There appears to be a figure dressed in a hooded sweatshirt, standing alarmingly close to him. Remarkably, as the camera angle shifts upwards, this figure disappears in seconds, leaving no sign of her presence. Whether this is an encounter entity or just a spine-chilling brush with an enigmatic person. It certainly sends shivers down the spine. Eerie exploration. Rochelle G. shared a house nest previewed by a home in members and them ever exploration Paranormal in a disturbed exploral miss what but a long camera here behind just nothing. There's the Mrs. no apparent the video the camera record from it where the camera in their discernible apparent although it remain totally playful in their fight not to unneos to be haunted while their mother dark okay or if it's stage and healing and being.
This is the room where primarily everything's been happening.
Upon stepping into the room, an unusual wheezing sound becomes perceptible. Viewers speculate that the sound emanated from the shadowy figure in the corner. Shortly after he notices the entity, the door autonomously swings open. He swiftly pans back to the left, only to find the shadowy figure has disappeared. In response to this encounter, he installs multiple stationary cameras around the house for further investigation. Several nights later, while he sleeps, the bedroom camera captures the following. As he sleeps, the camera captures a shadowy figure appearing to materialize from the ceiling. If this wasn't unsettling enough to give him nightmares, what he captured on his hallway camera certainly added to his unease. During the 2-hour duration, the video unmistakably captures the appearance of a female figure with dark hair materializing on the distant wall. Is his residence truly haunted, or is this merely a prank for TikTok? It's up to you to decide. Night terrors. In the early 2000s, a video was made by a group of young men who claimed to have moved into a haunted apartment building. They reported eerie noises during the night and movements of boxes in the attic above their room. They also heard a woman's cries, leaving them so scared they needed a nightlight to sleep. When the disturbances recurred, they decided to record the events. One of the men left his camcorder in the attic, hoping to record the mysterious occurrences. The footage shows numerous objects being hurled to the floor. When the man returned to get his camera, He felt the attic door mysteriously close behind him. The video captures a frightening scene at the attic's end, prompting him to quickly reopen the stairs and flee. The camera appears to have again recorded a chilling face. This raises the question, could this be the ghost tied to the apartment? The man wondered if past rituals in the apartment might be behind the strange activities and his terrifying experience. It was, without a doubt, a terrifying experience. Haunting at home. On February 10, 2023, a Reddit post caught attention, shared by a mother of a 2-year-old boy. She often stays awake at night due to her son's restless sleep. Each time her son stirs, she receives an alert from their security camera. After calming him and putting him back to bed, she has a routine of reviewing the camera footage to see what might have woken him. One night, she was stunned by what she saw in the video. Watch this segment and judge for yourself. If you look carefully, you'll see something unusual. The child's ear begins to move as if it's being pulled by unseen hands, a detail the camera did not initially make clear. The child glances around in confusion, searching for someone or something behind him, but the room appears empty. Is this an instance of the supernatural? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments. Unseen Pursuer. The unfortunate voyage began with a group navigating a dark, dirt road at night, a choice that soon became regrettable. A widely viewed online video shows a group of friends driving through a forest when they suddenly encounter a mysterious presence.
क्या है यहाँ पे? भाई भाई ओए ओए भाई वो आगे 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 अरे यार वो भाई इसलिए मैंने आपको मना किया था इस रास्ते से रहने दो आज भाई हम दो भाई हैं.
In the video, a figure clad in black is seen walking in an odd manner, raising questions about its nature and causing a tense, unnerving mood among the group.
भाई उसकी टांगे देखो टांगे हमें रास्ता दो हम आपको परेशान नहीं कर रहे यही आपको बोल रहा था भाई यार कसम से बता रहा हूँ यार मैं आपको ओए ओए ये क्या कर रही है वो क्या ये क्या कर रही है अपनी तरफ आएगी वो.
The figure momentarily stops, chilling the car's occupants to the bone. The tension escalates rapidly, and their apprehension is about to be confirmed.
अपनी साइड आ रही है ओ भाई 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 पीछे पीछे ओ भाई पीछे खा यार मैंने गाड़ी चल खाई मैंने चल जा भाई भाई यार.
In the subsequent scenes, as the figure suddenly moves towards them at a startling speed, the petrified group is left with no option but to hurriedly reverse into the enveloping darkness. Paranormal Puzzle. Is it possible that a spooky event from the past, still echoing in your mind, might be related to this supernatural story shared by a Redditor, describes an odd occurrence caught on a security camera, a puzzle that remains unsolved even now. Viewers should be aware that in this recording, the audio and visual elements are out of sync. It shows a tray falling to the floor, but interestingly, the sound happens after the tray is seen falling. This mismatch adds a sense of unease to the footage. Adding to the intrigue, some viewers, after examining the comments, suggest that the behavior of a dog, seen in its cage near a high chair, might indicate a paranormal event. The story focuses on the dog's startled reaction and the suddenness of the crash, fostering a sense of real fear and uncertainty. Interestingly, those in the comments who believe in the supernatural are inclined to interpret the dog's behavior as an indication of something otherworldly occurring. This narrative leaves viewers pondering the enigmatic connection between the unexplained incident and the dog's alarmed reaction. Thanks for joining us on this eerie journey. If you were thrilled by these ghostly encounters, hit like, share, and subscribe for more. Stay brave, keep watching, and remember, the next chilling discovery could be just a click away. Take an unexpected turn. This video is a classic example of such an occurrence. Stuffed toy mysteriously moves on its own. Yet initially, none of the participants seemed to notice. However, later in the footage, someone finally spots the movement. While the authenticity of such events is often debated, viewers generally agree that it's safer to avoid Ouija boards, as most recordings typically show unintended consequences. But, as always, opinions vary. What are your thoughts on this? The Cursed Mansion. In the cover of Night, a solitary man ventures into a forsaken house. Face with a peculiar sighting has for years occupied with a new bizarre post with proceeds half expected soon. Suddenly, a small golden statue topples over, catching the man off guard. He stops to ponder the cause of this unexpected event, scanning the surroundings for any possible explanation. Yet nothing seems amiss. It's unnerving how the statue fell seemingly by itself. The eeriness escalates when he decides to further explore the house, venturing upstairs. To capture a broader perspective, he sets up a second camera to record the entire upper floor. It's during this setup that something even more startling is captured. In a brief sequence of frames, a diminutive silhouette appears against the wall. The man only noticed this peculiar sighting after reviewing the footage. Had he seen it during his initial exploration, it's widely believed by viewers that he would have swiftly exited the premises. This shadowy figure, whatever it might be, clearly unnerved him upon later viewing. However, it's the subsequent discovery that compels him to immediately leave the house. While exploring the second floor, he encounters several rooms that are inexplicably locked, adding to the house's mysterious and unsettling atmosphere. Here's what he captured during this tense moment. If the self-opening door wasn't eerie enough, what follows intensifies the creepiness. As the man enters, the door slams shut behind him, as if forcefully closed by an unseen entity. Panicking, he rushes to the door, only to find it locked. Then, inexplicably, it unlocks, prompting him to flee immediately. In his haste, he fails to capture the rest of the incident, as the camera stops recording. However, just before the recording ends, something truly spine-chilling is captured. As the camera briefly pans to the room he had just escaped from, a dark figure is visible inside. It seems to stand there, silently watching the man's hurried departure. The realization that this presence was likely in the room with him leaves him deeply disturbed. Little is known about what transpired afterwards, but one thing seems certain. The man is unlikely to revisit that place anytime soon. Mysterious movements. In the realm of supernatural occurrences, Tales involving dolls stand out for their eerie nature. A striking instance of this is showcased in a recent upload by Zombie66 on YouTube. Initially, the video was meant to be a simple demonstration of cup stacking. However, it inadvertently captured something far more bizarre and unexplainable. Concerned by this unexpected twist, the uploader has since relocated the doll to a distant barn. Those watching the video are encouraged to observe the background minutely, as it holds subtle yet spine-chilling elements that contribute to the video's overall eerie atmosphere. In a video originally meant to display impressive cup stacking, an unexpected and frightening twist occurs. The camera, quite by chance, captures a doll moving by itself, a detail that went unnoticed during the filming. It was only upon reviewing the footage that this unnerving event was discovered, leaving a lasting impression of disturbance on those who witnessed it. This video stands out on the channel as a unique instance of supposed supernatural activity, which could suggest authenticity. If the intent were to fabricate such phenomena for increased viewership, one would expect a series of similar videos, which isn't the case here. What's your perspective on this eerie occurrence? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section. Unexplained presence. At around 1:00 a.m., a truck driver found himself on a seldom traveled road. This route has a notorious reputation for being perilous, with a history of numerous accidents, some of which were sadly fatal. These frequent mishaps have led to a belief that the road is somehow cursed, sparking debates about its closure. However, like the driver in this incident, many don't have the luxury of choosing an alternative path and must traverse this ominous road. On the night of August 18th, 2023, Gaston Rodriguez and his fellow driver were navigating this very road. To alleviate the eerie atmosphere, they were listening to upbeat music. It was during this time that they unexpectedly recorded something quite unsettling. As the truck ventured down the road, a fleeting figure was captured on camera, darting across the dirt path before abruptly vanishing. Initially, neither driver noticed this enigmatic presence during their journey. However, upon reviewing the footage later, they found themselves deeply unnerved by what they saw. The figure emerged seemingly from nowhere and disappeared just as mysteriously, adding to the intrigue of the moment. Given the road's notorious history, marked by fatal accidents, some speculate that the figure might be the lingering spirit of a past victim. The nature of this apparition, ghostly or otherwise, remains a mystery. The footage, intriguing in its own right, raises questions about the figure's sudden disappearance. As with many such videos, a concrete explanation for what was caught on camera remains elusive. I gotta tell you about something that happened to me recently. It's got me all freaked out, and I need to get it off my chest. So, here goes nothing. I live in this old farmhouse out in the countryside, surrounded by fields and forests. It's peaceful most of the time, but lately things have been feeling kinda off. It all started a few weeks ago, when I started hearing strange noises coming from the attic. At first, I thought it was just the house settling or maybe some animals getting in. But the noises were different, like whispers, just barely audible, echoing through the rafters. I tried to ignore it, but the whispers grew louder, more insistent. They seemed to follow me everywhere, haunting me day and night. I started to feel like I was losing my mind, like the walls were closing in around me. And then came the dreams, vivid, unsettling dreams that left me feeling drained and disoriented. I'd wake up in a cold sweat, my heart pounding in my chest, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasn't alone. Things only got worse from there. Objects started moving on their own, doors slamming shut when there was no one else around. I'd catch glimpses of shadows out of the corner of my eye, fleeting and indistinct, but unmistakably there. I tried to tell myself it was just my imagination, that I was letting my fears get the best of me. But deep down, I knew something wasn't right. There was a presence in the house, something dark and malevolent, and it was growing stronger by the day. I knew I had to do something, but I didn't know where to start. I tried researching online, looking for answers, but everything I found just made me more confused and scared. And then, just when I thought things couldn't get any worse, I found it. An old diary hidden away in a forgotten corner of the attic. The pages were yellowed with age, the ink faded and barely legible, but as I read through them, a chill ran down my spine. The diary belonged to the original owner of the farmhouse, a woman named Sarah who had lived here over 100 years ago. She wrote about strange occurrences in the house, whispers in the night, shadows lurking in the darkness. She spoke of a presence, something ancient and malevolent, that had driven her to the brink of madness. As I read her words, I realized that whatever was haunting this house had been here for a long time, longer than I could even imagine. And now it was coming for me. I don't know what to do, to be honest. I'm scared, more scared than I've ever been in my life. But I can't just sit back and let this thing consume me. I have to find a way to stop it before it's too late. As the first rays of dawn crept through the curtains, I finally mustered the courage to peel myself out of bed. Every creak of the floorboards felt like an ominous warning, as if the slightest noise would summon that shadowy presence back into my room. I stumbled into the kitchen, the events of the night still fresh in my mind. The scratching, the figure, it all replayed in my head like a nightmare on a loop. I poured myself a cup of coffee, hoping the warmth would chase away the chill that still lingered in my bones. As I sat at the kitchen table, trying to make sense of what had happened, my mind raced with possibilities. Was it a ghost? A figment of my imagination? Or something far more sinister lurking in the darkness? I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched, that every shadow held a hidden threat. The once familiar comfort of my home now felt like a prison, trapping me with unseen terrors. I needed answers, closure, anything to put my mind at ease. With trembling hands, I reached for my phone and began to search the internet for any clue that could explain what had happened to me. Hours passed as I delved deeper into the realm of the supernatural, poring over forums and articles in search of similar experiences. But the more I read, the more my unease grew. Tales of malevolent spirits and demonic entities danced across the screen, each one more chilling than the last. I tried to push the fear aside, to convince myself that there had to be a rational explanation for what I had witnessed. But deep down, a nagging doubt lingered, whispering that I was not alone in my home. As night fell once again, I felt an inevitable descent into darkness. Every creak of the floor on my spine, and out of the corner of my eye with dread. I barricaded myself in my room, the faint glow of my phone, the only source of comfort in the oppressive darkness. But even that small beacon of light offered little solace against the encroaching shadows. Time seemed to lose all meaning as I sat there, trapped in my own personal purgatory. The minutes stretched into hours, each one dragging me further into the depths of despair. And then, just when I thought I couldn't bear it any longer, I heard it, the scratching. Faint at first, like a whisper on the wind, but steadily growing louder with each passing moment. I held my breath, my heart pounding in my chest as I awaited the inevitable. The figure emerged from the darkness, its form twisted and contorted in ways that defied description. I wanted to scream, to flee, but my body refused to obey. I was paralyzed, trapped in a waking nightmare with no means of escape. The figure drew closer, its eyes burning with a malevolent intensity that sent terror coursing through my veins. I could feel its presence looming over me, a suffocating weight pressing down on my chest. And then, just as suddenly as it had appeared, the figure vanished, leaving me alone in the darkness once more. I lay there for what felt like an eternity, too afraid to move, too afraid to even blink. But as the first light of dawn crept through the curtains, I knew that my ordeal was far from over. For something had awakened within me, a primal instinct that screamed of danger lurking just beyond the edge of perception. And as I stared into the abyss, I knew that whatever had visited me that night was only the beginning of a far greater horror yet to come. But for now, all I could do was wait, trapped in a nightmare from which there was no waking. I've been wanting to share something that's been weighing on my mind lately. It's about this old house I used to live in, and some seriously spooky stuff that went down there. Buckle up, 'cause this one's a wild ride. So, a couple of years back, I moved into this charming little cottage out in the countryside. It was picturesque, with ivy climbing up the walls and a big old oak tree in the yard. Perfect, right? Well, not exactly. From the moment I stepped foot inside, I could sense there was something off about the place. It was like the air was heavy with, I dunno, sadness. Yeah, sadness is the word, but I brushed it off as me being paranoid, no. Anyway, things started getting weird pretty quick. At first, it was just little things, like objects moving on their own or strange shadows darting across the walls. Easy to ignore, right? But then the noises started. Late at night, when I was all alone, I hear these whispers echoing through the halls. It was like someone, or something, was trying to communicate with me. Freaky, right? But it gets worse. I started having these dreams, or maybe they were more like nightmares. I'd see flashes of people I didn't recognize, trapped in the walls of the house. Their faces were twisted in agony, like they were screaming for help. And then I'd wake up, drenched in sweat, my heart pounding like a jackhammer. I tried telling myself it was just my imagination running wild, but deep down, I knew something wasn't right. There was a darkness in that house, a darkness that seemed to seep into every crack and crevice. I started doing some digging, trying to uncover the history of the place. Turns out, the cottage had a pretty grim past, something about a family who lived there years ago and disappeared under mysterious circumstances. Spooky, huh? Armed with this newfound knowledge, I decided to confront whatever was haunting the house. I gathered up some candles, a Ouija board, you know, all the essentials, and prepared to face my fears head-on. That night, as the clock struck midnight, I lit the candles and set up the Ouija board in the living room. I called out to the spirits, daring them to show themselves. And boy, did they deliver. The air grew icy cold, and the candles flickered as if caught in a breeze. And then, out of the darkness, they came, the shadows of the past, reaching out to me from the other side. I could feel their pain, their anguish, as if it were my own. But instead of being afraid, I felt, I dunno, liberated. Like I'd finally confronted the demons that had been tormenting me for so long. And as quickly as they had appeared, away, leaving me alone in the darkness. From that day on, the whispers stopped, the shadows disappeared, and the nightmares, well, they became a thing of the past. I don't know what happened that night, or if I'll ever fully understand it, But one thing's for sure, I'll never forget the haunting memories of that old cottage. I was 16 and my parents were out of town for the night. As any teen given such an opportunity, I decided to have a little party and movie night with a few friends. I remember a strange soft clicking over the landline when I was calling my friends, but I soon forgot about it while hunting for snacks. Just as I was dumping a bag of chips in a bowl, the phone rang again. "Dude, just bring the goriest one," I said as soon as I picked up the phone, thinking it was my indecisive friend bringing the DVD. "Hi, I'm calling from Felix Insurance. May I speak to an adult?" A male voice said. "I'm an adult, and I don't want any." I awkwardly lied and ended the call. This time, the clicking sound was also missing. Either way, my friends arrived, and it was all good. During the intermission of the horror movie, I went to get more popcorn but found the big window in the downstairs bedroom was wide open. Clicking my tongue, I closed it, nearly sneezing from the sharp chemical smell from outside. Closing the window didn't really help, so I left the door open and went on my way. By midnight, my friends left and I got to cleaning up since my parents were to arrive early in the morning. At least it was the weekend so I could sleep in. I looked around when that same chemical smell irritated my nose. I leaned closer to the kitchen window that was open a crack, but the night air was cool and fresh. Was the smell coming from inside the house? I worriedly headed for the spare bedroom, hoping it wasn't some dumb prank my friends did during one of their bathroom breaks. There was no smell in that bedroom anymore. I stood confused when the sound of boots passing right outside the room made me whirl around. I dashed outside to check, but of course there was no one. The horror movie was probably messing with my mind already. Back in the kitchen, I was drying up the big plastic bowl when I felt that I wasn't alone. Nervously, I looked up at the window and caught the reflection of a big, strong figure quietly approaching me from behind. The chemical smell was very sharp now, and it dawned on me that it was emitting from the intruder. I'm not sure where I got the courage, but I slammed the bowl right in the intruder's face and dashed for it. He tried to grab me, but I dodged, hitting my shin in the dining table as I ran out the house. The neighbors called the cops for me, but the perpetrator was gone. It was also revealed that our phone line was being tapped. A chemical factory worker who was wanted for robbing homes in the area was later caught, but to this day, I still triple-check all locks and windows of my home. I work at a call center and get off very late in the night. On my drive home, all I wanted to do was to get to my bed and sleep well into the afternoon. It was around 2 in the morning when I got home. Within seconds of laying down, I was sound asleep in my bedroom. I jolted awake from one of those dreams with a loud bang sound, my mind telling me that it had been no dream. I looked at the window, but it was still dark out, perhaps near dawn. However, before I could go back to sleep again, I noticed light peeking from under my bedroom door. I never slept with lights on in the house. I slowly sat up, but nervousness kept me from getting off the bed. I did have the sense to grab my phone off the side table, being as quiet as possible. While I was internally debating my sudden paranoia, my very breath halted, hearing soft thumps somewhere in the house. Footsteps. There was someone in my home. My heartbeat was almost on par with these footsteps as I dialed the police. I had the sense to lower the sound so the operator's voice wouldn't echo in the quiet house. Tick, tick, tick. This weird sound came from outside, the intruder coming upstairs. This ticking came in breaks, 6 ticks, then 6 softer ones, only to repeat again. With my dry as sand mouth, I managed to whisper to the operator. She was asking me for further details when I clearly heard this ticking and footsteps approaching my bedroom door. I dashed towards it and slammed against it just as the intruder also tried to rush in, now aware that I was awake. Hearing a man's grunt, I put all my weight against the door that seemed too flimsy just then. There's an intruder in my home. Hurry, the operator, and then rattled off my address twice. The man opened the door and in one gloved hand. He was holding a box cutter, pushing the blade out with those ticks. I screamed at the operator that he was armed as I tried to hurt his arm with the door. The man blindly slashed at me as I stayed as far from his reach as possible, banging against the door. "Leave it!" Another female downstairs. An angry hiss. I was barely surviving against one, but now there were two. With an annoyed grunt, the man trying to stab me backed off, and I heard the duo's hasty escape. I slumped down by my closed door, too afraid to open it. My neighbors CCTVs, but they were wearing dark clothes with full masks, so the cops had nothing to go on. In the end, the duo stole some valuables from me, but at least left me alive, albeit with lifelong paranoia. I now sleep with a sharp knife under my pillow in case they ever change their mind and come back. This happened to me 3 years ago, when I was living alone for a few months. My roommates had moved out, and I was hoping to have some me time before looking for new roommates. Hopefully people who went to the same university as me. It was a simple house with the kitchen and lounge connected and a long hallway that led to 3 bedrooms. The backyard also connected to the woods, just a lousy fence creating a boundary. Checking and mostly wasting. I am on silence and kept calling me. I asked the woman how she got. I needed room. Said that she was in the same social circle as me. It was a stormy day, and I was systematically checking all the windows when I paused at the kitchen window overlooking the woods behind the house. "What the?" I mumbled and squinted at the boar, peeking out in the tussle or door to with myself that I was spooking myself. I had never seen a real wild boar ever, so how would I know how big they were? Yet, there was something uncanny about it that I couldn't dismiss. Abrupt shuffling from the bushes made me flinch and look outside the window again. The boar was gone, the woods silent now. The storm picked up by night, loud thunder and flashes in abundance. Rain was angrily drumming upon the house and creating a big racket, so I decided to grab my headphones and watch something cozy on Netflix. Midway through an episode of Gilmore Girls, a crash loud enough to seep into my headphones came from the kitchen. I put the laptop away and quickly rummaged under my bed, where I kept a sturdy baseball bat. Just as I heard rushing footsteps coming towards my bedroom, I jumped in my closet. From the slits, I saw a lanky woman wearing that same boar mask I had spied in the woods earlier, a big butcher knife in her hand. As soon as she had her back towards the closet, I charged out and hit her hard, knocking her out. As I waited for the cops, I unmasked the woman. She really was from the university I attended, some woman from the admin I barely recognized. I soon sold that house and moved in an apartment complex with 24/7 security, a CCTV installed outside my main door. However, there was no way I'd be able to do that commute daily, so moving was a necessity. I searched for an apartment on Craigslist, so when I saw an ad on Craigslist for an available bedroom in an apartment in that specific area for a really low price, I jumped on it. I took a ride to the city the next day to see the apartment, and the landlord gave me a quick tour of the place. The landlord himself seemed a bit socially awkward, but that didn't really matter. The place did come with a catch. I'd have a roommate. The landlord said he's a very quiet to himself kind of person, which he said was good. My roommate's name was Bren. The landlord knocked on Bren's door, asking if he'd like to come out and say hello. Bren didn't even answer. The landlord suggested he might be taking a nap, So we moved on to talking in the living room, where I expressed interest in renting. I signed an application, and the next day the landlord called and offered me the room. So I moved in the next week. My dad helped me unload all my furniture into my little room. Something odd to note was that never once did this Bren character come out during all this commotion to at least say hi. He was definitely home. We heard him moving around in his room. I came to the early realization that he probably wasn't going to be friendly at all. When we finished unloading the van, my dad left, and I was alone, officially moved out. I sat on my bed and started watching Netflix on my laptop. Then, I heard the door to Bren's room open and close. This seemed like my chance to go out and say hi. It was his first time leaving his room. I got out of my bed, but before I could even get to my bedroom door, the front door to the apartment slammed shut. I stepped outside to the living room, and no one was there. I didn't know what the deal with this Bren guy was, but surely he had to know we'd have to meet eventually. I went back to my room, ate a bowl of ramen, and went to sleep. I woke up when I heard the front door to the apartment close again, then footsteps. The footsteps on the creaky wood floor made their way to the outside of my door, then stopped. I sat up and looked at the crack below the door. The outlines of feet could be seen through the light creeping in under the door. Why was he just standing out there like a creep? Of course, I didn't say anything. I just waited for him to walk away. I didn't have my door locked. I was low-key terrified of him entering my room. Thankfully, he walked away from my door and back to his room, and I heard him shut his door. I tried to go to sleep, but all night, all I heard were thumps coming from his room. I had no idea what he could possibly be doing. I was tempted to go knock on his door and tell him to keep it down, but I hadn't even met the guy yet, so I had to deal with it. Eventually, I fell asleep, and when I woke up in the morning, it seemed Bren was out already, maybe at work. I didn't know at the time. I spent most of that day shopping for groceries and basic apartment necessities. When I got back, I dropped all the bags on the couch in the living room to give myself a rest. I cooked dinner and watched some Netflix on the couch, all the while Bren never came home. I did a quick run to the nearby 7-Eleven to get toothpaste, and when I got back, I noticed Bren's door was cracked open, and the light was on. So I figured this was it, the moment for me to say hello. I went to his door, knocked slightly twice, and pushed the door open. What I found in there was shocking, or maybe I should say what I didn't find. Him there. The room was completely empty, not a single piece of furniture except for a single chair sitting in the corner of the room, the kind of chair you'd find in a high school classroom. My heart suddenly started racing, and I started to shake. I turned off the light in that room and shut the door. I went to my room, locked the door, and sat on my bed, suddenly getting a really bad headache. I took out my phone and thought of scrolling through the phone to pass the time. As I was sitting there, I heard someone moving inside my closet. I freaked out and didn't know what to do. I ran to the bathroom, locked myself in, and called the cops. I could hear someone moving outside in my room and someone whispering in a hushed tone. The police got to the apartment shortly and searched the whole apartment with me, but no one was found. They tried calling the landlord, but he didn't pick up the call as well, and the mystery of Bren remained a mystery. I had my dad come the next day to help me move all my stuff back home. I found another apartment the next week. It was a huge hassle going through the whole moving process again. I knew from the start the so-called landlord gave off bad vibes, but who would have ever imagined the events that took place? It was a new chapter of my life as I got admitted to college. I moved into a new house, but it wasn't that pleasant, and I got out of budget. The rent was eating me, and I didn't earn that much to cover it up, so I thought that I might need a roommate to share my rent. I asked some of my friends, but they already had a place to stay. So I went to Craigslist and posted an ad on it, looking for a roommate. I had never used Craigslist before, so I was kind of hesitant, but the need was real, so I thought of giving it a shot. For the first few days, I didn't get any reply on my ad, but as the days passed by, I got an email from an anonymous account that some lady was interested in being a roommate. I got curious and replied to her mail, and within moments, my phone rang at an eerie hour of 11 p.m. I thought of not picking up the call as it was late at night, but I ignored my intuitions and picked it up anyway. The girl introduced herself as Ellen with no last name. She sounded creepy and her voice was echoing in my phone, making it even scarier. The call had a lot of static disturbance. Despite all these red flags, I agreed to share the rent with her and told her all the details. I thought sharing the space with a girl might be a better option. She ended the call by saying, "Ok, I am on the way." That was strange, as I was expecting her arrival tomorrow. Suddenly, 5 minutes later, the bell rang. I thought it might be someone else, but as I went towards the door and saw through the peephole, I saw that a girl with a bag of clothes in her hand was standing at my door. She wasn't moving and just looking at the door, as if she knew I was looking at her through the peephole. I opened the door hesitantly and said hello. She said expressionlessly, "Hey, I am Ellen," and gave me the rent in advance. Right away, I didn't know how to respond. She didn't have any furniture with her and insisted that she would adjust. Still, I furnished a spare single bed in her room, and she was very easy to live with. No shouting, no rush, and no worries. She woke up, we had a chat. She was shy and quiet. There was something about her that was disturbing me right from the beginning, but I ignored it. But then her behavior took a strange turn. She ate messily with her hands. Her mouth used to get drenched with the food and dirt often. I started feeling uneasy around her, as if her presence gave an eerie energy. Time passed, and my discomfort grew to a level that couldn't be tolerated anymore. And one night, I woke up to loud thuds and strange noises coming from Ellen's room. I rushed to her door and knocked. The knock was responded to with screams of more than one person. I kicked the door open, and suddenly everything got quiet. There was no one in the room, but everything was messed up. Walls were covered with deep scratches and dried blood. Ellen was nowhere in the room, yet I heard screams coming from the room just moments ago. Confused and terrified, I searched the room thoroughly, but I had no explanation for what just happened. I called the police and told them everything that happened right from the start. They asked for Ellen's picture. I had only one random picture of her passing behind me while I was taking a selfie. They took it and started, after a nights and troubled days, with a call. Police station, truth and the policeman told me the girl in the picture was not Ellen. She was Grace, a girl who lived in Connecticut. She went missing mysteriously about 3 years ago from her place. Her family said that her behavior had been bizarre before her after 3 years of her disappearance anywhere in the I was living in that in one sitting. I was about to fill me water and dropped me home. I left the house to erase this traumatic memory and decided to live in a hostel for some time. In 2011, since I had recently, it wasn't a piece of junk, figured bucks for it, posted an ad for it, and listed my phone number so that anyone interested could text or call me. The ad was up for a few days with no bites, and I was becoming impatient. Finally, after 3 days, I received a text showing interest in buying the bike down to it, stating he wanted to come get the bill. I told him he could come right now and included my address. He said that he would be there within an hour. I was home alone at the time. I was sitting in my living room watching TV, and it was dark outside when I heard a car pull up in front of the house. I got near the window and peeked out to see who it was, men getting out of the car. I didn't get the purpose of 3 men coming over to get a bike. One of them rang the bell. They had to have seen me standing by the window, so they knew I was there. I opened the door, and the man standing in front of the other 2 reached out and shook my hand. He told me that his name was Chris. He was a big dude. He also had a really thick beard and a deep voice. However, he didn't introduce his 2 friends, who were just standing behind him, looking at me with blank expressions. They weren't exactly tiny men either. As I was telling them about the bike, Chris cut me off and passed by me into the house, asking which way to the bike. His 2 friends followed him. The idea of making sure they didn't enter my house was clearly out the window. I didn't know what to do, so I rushed in front of Chris to stop him going further into the house, towards the stairs to the back door. Chris, along with his 1 friend, followed me to where one of them told me that he needed to use the restroom and asked me where it was. I paused for the longest time. I was thinking, should I use the restroom? I looked at they all were staring at me with and creep faces, so I subjectively was. That man disappeared into. I went to the shed to grab the bicycle. While going to fetch the bike from the shed, all I was thinking was, what the hell did I get into? Somehow, I showed them they were interested in. He started analyzing of the bike, like things never even think to analyze on a bike. For example, some of the spokes may have been slightly bent or had scuff marks on it. They were just keeping me busy. I was so busy answering his questions and trying to defend the condition of the bike from his remarks that I didn't even think of the man who had supposedly been in my bathroom for almost 10 minutes. I told the 2 of them to keep checking out the bike, to fetch inside to see that person's bathrooms. Both of them were empty. I found and talking in my living room downstairs. Then what sounded like Chris calling my name. I heard them coming up the stairs. Chris slowly in the hallway, that they just wanted to talk. I actually thought that night was going to be the night of my death. I quietly shut the bathroom door and locked it, keeping the lights off. I dialed 911, whispered as quietly as I could to the operator to send, or I could be dead within 10 minutes. She wanted me to remain calm and to try my best. After explaining, she told me locked room until the cops showed up. Footsteps and travel. They were trying to kick the door down. I screamed at them that the cops were almost here, and then the kicking stopped. I heard them whispering outside the door, and then I heard them going down the stairs after a moment. I didn't leave the bathroom until the cops showed up. As I went out to see the house, I noticed that I was missing a lot of things, including my wallet, which was on the kitchen counter, a couple of watches, my iPad, and of course, the bike that was in the backyard. The cops told me to just be grateful that I wasn't killed, which I was, but how could I be happy really after this? The cop said, given that they were trying to break into the bathroom, they were most likely going to kill me, which scares the hell out of me to think about. That was the one and only time I ever used Craigslist. A group of children were alone in a house when they captured some chilling footage. Ains de la Cruz, who shared the video, explains that it was recorded by siblings while they were in their grandparents' house. They managed to film something incredibly eerie. Here's what they caught.
Estamos aquí en la casa de mi bisabuela. Se fue la... ¿Qué es eso? se fue la luz. Esa es la casita. Porque. Y mi mamá. Espérense. Y mi mamá y mi abuela se fueron al Oxxo a comprar velas por eso. Por lo que pasó de que se fue la luz. Y pues. Estamos aquí. Esas son las. Mi abuelito. Espérense. No sean chillones. No va a pasar nada. Y esas son las cenizas de mi bisabuelo. Porque pues desgraciadamente él ya falleció. Y el baño está allá. El baño, mi hermano quiere hacer pipí, pero el baño está allá. Y mi abuela nos dijo que cuidáramos. Mi abuelo nos dijo que cuidáramos aquí su casa en lo que ellas iban. Pero espérense. Pero pues el problema es que aquí no sabemos. Y pues no tengan miedo. No pasa nada. Abuelito, ¿si estás aquí? Preséntate. Si estás aquí, preséntate ante nosotros. Somos tus nietos.
In the footage, set in what seems to be a shed, a sudden movement startles the children. A shadowy figure or creature emerges rapidly, causing fright. This event might have been quite traumatic for them. The shadowy form seen towards the end could be mistaken for an animal, such as a bird or a bat. But this doesn't explain the distinct shadowy figure spotted earlier in the video. It doesn't resemble any known animal, leading many to speculate about the presence of a malevolent entity. Such videos often lead to varied interpretations. Could this be a ghostly figure caught on camera, or is there another explanation? Unseen presence. Luna Moon shared a video that has been troubling her. In the video, a father starts recording a playhouse tent he bought for his daughter. Initially, everything appears normal, but then he notices something inside the tent that alarms him, causing him to quickly leave the room and stop the recording. This is what was captured. Upon nearing the tent, the father sees what looks like someone hiding inside, but as he checks the entrance, the figure is nowhere to be found, prompting him to hastily exit and cease recording.
Le compré un castillo a mi hija y ya no sale de aquí para nada, weón. Es re lindo, tiene ventanita y todo, pille. ¿Qué es esa mierda? Uy, no.
This segment raises unanswered questions. The father thinks the playhouse tent, previously owned by a deceased child, may be inhabited by the child's spirit. Even the usually skeptical Luna finds this idea compelling, especially after the father captures a photo of what looks like a child peeking through a window on the 15th floor, where there's no balcony. These mysterious occurrences have sparked both curiosity and debate. What's your take on this enigmatic situation? Feel free to share your thoughts. The strange creature. How would you react to encountering something unusual on a remote dirt road? A TikTok user shares footage of a spine-chilling encounter with a mysterious creature. As the user gets closer, the video fails to provide a clearer view of the creature. Nonetheless, TikTok users are buzzing with theories about its identity. Some viewers speculate that it might be an injured animal. Intriguingly, one comment suggests the creature could be more dangerous than it appears, even hinting that a car might not provide adequate defense. Whispers from Beyond. Dalen Spratt attends a unique family reunion at a haunted cemetery in Georgia, where the only attendees are spirits. He already feels uneasy before starting any communication with the spirits. What insights will the spirits offer him?
This might be our night. This might be our night. I know y'all heard that. I know y'all heard that. This might be our night location spot, guys.
As Dalen nears a mausoleum, he feels his energy shift.
This is the mausoleum. My head is already starting to hurt. As soon as I came over here and looked inside of here, it's like my whole energy shifted.
His interaction with the spirits, facilitated by a device, becomes more fascinating.
Hey, is anyone out here with me? Is it? My name is Dalen. What is your name?
A moment of revelation occurs when Dalen asks for the spirit's surname and receives a response matching one of the nearby tomb names.
That's safe to give. Okay, so the Give family. It's like 10 of y'all buried over here.
Dalen continues to ask pivotal questions to the spirits.
How does it feel being buried with your family? Great. That's cool. Were y'all close during your living years?
It becomes clear that the family's past was not entirely harmonious. Dalen also checks if the spirits are aware of their environment.
I want to know, are you aware of what's going around? Can you tell me the color of the truck that just drove by? Y'all, truck. It sounded like it said red.
The session concludes with an intriguing possibility. Dalen's experience reinforces the notion that communicating with the deceased might indeed be possible. It seems he is on the verge of unraveling mysteries are curious about. A spooky discovery. In an engaging video uploaded by Jose Maria, we see his excitement for hiking and caving adventures. This time joined by a friend, captured on their way back from a caving expedition. The footage, interestingly, isn't from inside the cave, but rather from its vicinity. The area known for mysterious. Ambience might have revealed through normal activities long They come across clothed in black, odd and unsettling distortion. This describes the deepening the mystery of by a tourist during his exciting the day after arriving explore in ancient Austria. He described this cave though stating it was located 10,000 feet. This seemed a bit exaggerated. The adventure began beautifully with sights of ancient glaciers, and however, the tourist its sight. The snaking ship start. In the distance, a faceless figure could be seen observing the man. This tall figure was clad in a black robe, its lack of facial features striking. The consistent appearance of such entities across different regions is intriguing. Could this sighting indicate the mysterious phenomena purported to exist within these tunnels? Thanks for joining us on this eerie adventure. If you are intrigued or thrilled, show your support by liking and sharing this video. Don't miss out on more mysterious encounters. Make sure to subscribe for more ghostly explorations. Stay alert, and until our next paranormal journey, keep hunting for the truth. Family, in this harrowing moment, they could hear them. Tonight's scary video, brought to you by Devil Hour Productions, is not for the faint of heart. Imagine a place where the air is thick with the echoes of the past, and shadows seem to move on their own. This is where we're heading, to the eerie and ancient Arnold family farmhouse, built in 1736, now known as the Harrisville Farmhouse. It's a place that inspired the bone-chilling movie The Conjuring. But the real question that haunts us is, are the ghost stories and paranormal claims from the movie actually true? Well, our brave team of 4 young paranormal investigators are on a mission to find out. They're ready to face the unknown and uncover the secrets that lurk in the dark corners of the Harrisville farmhouse. So grab some popcorn and your flashlight, and let's dive into the shadows together. Tonight, we will explore the truth behind these legends. Be sure to check out Devil Hour Productions YouTube channel for more intense paranormal investigations like no other. Now turn off the lights, sit back, and get ready for a terrifying experience.
July 19th, 2013. The Hollywood film, The Conjuring, took the world by storm. A critically acclaimed horror film based on the haunting of the Harrisville farmhouse through the perspectives of the Perron family, including Ed and Lorraine Warren. Every investigator has heard about the Warrens. They are pioneers of the paranormal.
That's probably the worst thing we have in this whole museum. That Raggedy Ann doll was given to a nurse in 1970 by her mother as a Christmas present.
I have researched some of their cases, and one of them was the Harrisville farmhouse. The kind of activity they reported having there is what I would call next level.
So that we would then leave the house, evaluate our findings, and decide what it is we can do to help the family, if indeed there was anything that we could do to help them. In this case, I do not believe that any exorcism, any ritual of a religious nature, or anyone could ever clear that home of the very negative spirits which are involved in it. We have both human and inhuman spirits in this home, which are bringing about these destructive acts. Destructive acts. Destructive acts. Destructive acts.
This farmhouse piqued my interest. Is this house truly that next level location? I really wanted to investigate the extraordinary claims of levitation, possession, apparitions, and physical attacks. At the time, however, the Harrisville farmhouse owner was not allowing investigations at the house. It wasn't until October 2019 I discovered that paranormal investigators Corey and Jennifer Heisen had purchased the property. This gave me hope of getting access to film a documentary at the infamous Harrisville farmhouse. I then told my friend Joe Vitale, who has over 20 years of experience investigating the paranormal and runs his own YouTube channel, Entity 7 Paranormal. He was wanting to investigate the property just as much as I did, so we agreed to film there together as soon as possible. I got in contact with the Heisens and they gave us permission and the dates we could film there. We were all set, except my team could not make it due to personal reasons, so we decided to gather a team of 4 paranormal YouTubers. Joe and I, Billy Cook from Paranormal Pursuit, and Eric Connor from Epic Paranormal TV. The day has finally come where we set foot on the Harrisville farmhouse property for the very first time. We wanted to uncover the real history and experiences of the house, so we interviewed Keith and Carl Johnson, the first paranormal investigators and demonologists to ever investigate the house. Next, we interviewed Corey Heisen, the current owner of the farmhouse, as well as John Huntington, also a paranormal investigator. He investigated the house the longest and lived there for 9 months with the Heisens as a caretaker. Lastly, Andrea Perrin was interviewed. She experienced this infamous haunting firsthand for 10 years on the property. Her story is the reason why we are here.
That kind of led you on a path that you finally were able to come to this house. What brought you to this house?
It was in the early 1970s, 1973 actually, and I was part of an organization. My brother and I, my brother Carl, were members of PIRO, based at Rhode Island College, Parapsychological Investigation and Research Organization. And as I said, there was no internet back then, so how do I get the word out that we do investigations free of charge? So I just illustrated a little ad myself, put it in a local newspaper, and it was 3 weeks later, so the day actually, that it was answered by Mrs. Carolyn Perrin in Harrisville, Rhode Island. And she said she had moved in a couple of years ago to a house that was built in 1736, and things were happening that were becoming very terrifying, downright terrifying. And she was wondering if we could come and check out her situation.
Logic tells you that something that is there's a shadow passing can't read.
Here when we're different and all America to inhuman
Parents awaken what's happened.
Back here on the right time.
Yeah, they had them all up here a few months ago, and that was, you can tell, like, you can tell when somebody's been through something, and they had certainly been through something.
Mr. McEachern, who was a historian in his 90s, when we moved there, he came and introduced himself to my mother and our family. The spirit that was haunting my mother clearly had a broken neck, hanging literally off the side of her dress. And Mr. McEachern told my mother that it was Mrs. Arnold and that a farmhand took her body down and moved her into the house so that she would be able to be buried in the family plot in the cemetery, rather than being excluded because she had taken her own life.
Carolyn Perrin did have a very disturbing experience in her bedroom, where one morning, it was shortly after our first visit, it was about 5:15 in the morning, she woke up and there was something in her room. She smelled the scent of sulfur and decay mingled. There was something even fizzling for a moment on her dresser, some kind of light. But then she looked over and there's this, it's very difficult to describe what she saw. It was some kind of monstrosity and vaguely in the shape of a female apparition wearing a long gray dress, but the head was cocked to one side on the shoulder as if the neck had been broken. And it began chanting to her, I'll drive you mad with fiery brooms. I'll drive you mad with death and gloom. I'll drive you out, but it will be too late. You'll be dead. And then it just leered at her and vanished.
A myth surrounds the Harrisville farmhouse involving Bathsheba Sherman. People claim she was a witch and a Satanist who murdered a baby with a sewing needle. Through research, however, this appears to be far from the truth.
Bathsheba Thayer Sherman Green was an actual historical person. She was a resident of Harrisville. She was a member of the Harrisville Baptist Church at the time of her life. She married Judson Sherman. They had a rather prosperous farm. And somehow, we don't know how, rumors started up about her years ago, quite a long time ago. She was accused of being a satanic witch and supposedly had killed a baby here, sacrificed it, made it look like an accident by impaling it with a sewing needle. And there's been a lot of research done on that, and there's been no actual historic evidence that that ever happened.
Before the Harrisville farmhouse was built, King Philip's War took place throughout Massachusetts and Rhode Island. From 1675 through 1678, the Narragansett and Wampanoag tribes fought a brutal war with the colonists. Thousands were left dead, villages were torched, women and children murdered and burned alive, leaving the farmhouse land possibly haunted.
was actually Pyro who contacted the Warrens about the situation here. And we were here first and investigated and, of course, experienced quite a bit of activity here. And we sat down at our next meeting and said, I really, we were talking about how we should call in Ed and Lorraine Warren just to see what their take was. Actually, Lorraine Warren arranged something I personally would not recommend. She recommended that they arrange a seance, which took place right in this room, right where we're sitting now. And of course, Lorraine thought perhaps this spirit, if they hold a seance, and they had another psychic medium here as well that was actually conducting the seance, and they hoped that this spirit would communicate through Carolyn Perrin and say what it wanted.
My father didn't want to have any strenuously object going forward. It took Ed Warren and the priest quite a while to convince him that it was necessary. And then the medium started conjuring the spirits. That's where the name of the film came from. And in the process of doing that, she collapsed unconscious on the table. The table rose up. It came back down on the floor. My mother started howling like a banshee, started speaking in a language that does not exist on this earth. The chair that she was in raised up off the floor. And in a split second, she and the chair were tossed from the middle of the dining room into the middle of the parlor.
Literally thrown off the chair halfway across the room, wound up crumpled on the floor. To all appearances, she was dead. She wasn't showing any life signs at all. And of course, Roger ran over to revive her, and she did start breathing again. Meanwhile, Ed Warren advised him, you really shouldn't touch the possessor at this point. And that's where Roger lost it. He dismissed the Warrens very, very adamantly. He actually literally threw Ed out of the house, and that's how it culminated their involvement in this case.
And everyone present in the house heard my mother's skull hit that floor, and everyone present in that house thought she had died. It was a nightmare. It was the worst moments of my life. That shouldn't have even happened.
Have you had anybody scared to investigate after coming here?
We've had a few teams leave in the middle of the night. Just because, it gets too real too soon. Some people just aren't ready for it. They just think it's just going to be one of those run-of-the-mill, hauntings, and it's pretty much up in your face.
I hear you out there. Thought I saw him move a little bit. Oh, fuck. Holy fuck. Oh my god, that's so fucking scary.
Okay, John, tell us a little bit about some of the experiences you've had in this house.
Scariest thing is I had a voice yell hello at me. I came out here and I heard a bunch of wrestling around and stuff and banging, and it sounded like something was going through something. So I just kind of went quietly, walked back, got my phone, started recording, and then I heard a girl say hello out loud, which kind of startled me.
Heard some knocking and banging down this. I walked through a minute ago, so I thought I'd just grab my camera. There's a car going by. Hello? Goosebumps.
And I also had like a toy car come off one of the chairs. book came off the shelf. I just gotten up in the morning and noticed it on the floor, and I came back and asked Bill, if, did you see was there a book on the floor? We reviewed the tape, and sure enough, it just came right off the shelf.
Tools that
Did I just say? Did I just hear what I think I heard? I went slow, so it sounds funny. Oh, something's not happy, guys. Something is not happy. God, dude. Oh my god. That was a little alarming, guys, to be honest.
I almost wanted to say it was commonplace to see things move on their own.
Father God, came to this place in peace and we leave in peace, taking nothing unholy or unnatural with us, only that which is godly, angelic, and of light. And we pray for our brothers here tonight, that they may be kept safe, and that there be no harm, no danger, as they explore the wonders of creation. We pray this in your holy name. Amen. 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 Amen.
Before the investigation, our friend Jason Emmerich, an investigator and medium, had given Joe a warning that I was not told about for experimental purposes.
And he's going to see if he can communicate with the spirits from here at his place.
Gotcha.
And right now, I'm not going to say what he's telling me right now just yet.
Here, do you want to film it though? Go ahead and film it.
But it's interesting.
Welcome to a night shrouded in shadow and suspense, where our team of fearless paranormal investigators dares to tread the cursed grounds of the infamous Conjuring House. A place drenched in darkness and whispered horrors, this house has seized the nightmares and fears of those who dare to speak its name. Tonight, our brave souls embark on a harrowing quest to peel back the layers of mystery that cloak its walls. What unspeakable secrets lie buried within the Conjuring House? With each step deeper into its haunted halls, they confront the spectral forces that whisper from the beyond, challenging the living to uncover truths best left untold. Will they encounter the restless spirits rumored to roam these rooms?
Let's do
Any relations to him?
I feel like I should redo a tarot reading.
What?
The rocking chair. It's moving! It's moving!
Okay. Jump around. Okay, yes. It was moving. It was
Investigating rise here occur being parallels of the Conjuring house. What other secrets will reveal themselves?
Guys, we have it. We have it.
Hold up.
Look. Oh yeah, we have it.
That's right, we have cameras all over.
What time is it?
Yeah, we need. I want to check this too, just in case. Yeah, check time. Check time.
Surely that's wise
It's
enough.
10:22,
so we'll say around 10 o'clock.
At 10:12 p.m., the Heisen family's DVR system captured the rocking chair move on its own. Before we reviewed the footage, we tried every method we could think of to debunk the chair moving on its own. We stomped on the ground near the chair and it didn't budge.
Okay, jump around. Okay, yes, it was moving. It was fucking moving. I caught a little bit of it.
Hold on, I got it.
I caught a little bit of it.
The boards don't go all the way through there.
Okay, back up, guys. But let's back up.
I gotta try.
Give us some space for a bit. We'll try and debunk after this. At first, well, I want to try and get the. I want to try and get the phenomena first. Then we'll try and debunk. Okay.
Okay.
Because this just happened. So if it could do it again, let's see if it can. This should not have moved. Now I want to do the debunking process. Because I was trying to get the entity to do it again right off the bat. Right. That's why I didn't want to do it then. But now let's try and do another debunking process.
So here,
jump around, guys.
Billy was where you are, and we were over here. So yeah.
Nothing moving.
Does it stop?
But we weren't doing that though.
No,
we weren't.
I'm just trying to over dramatize it because to even show even more that it's not us, and that's crazy.
It's not moving at all.
No, it's not. So this moved by itself. We captured it.
We then recreated a door vacuum, and that also did not make it budge.
Seriously said, can you move something? Actually, hold on. I think I might know how to debunk this. Open that door. Close it. Open it. Suction effect. Okay, now open it. How you did before.
Open it big too, so if there's any.
Yeah, it's still not doing it.
After reviewing the footage, we know exactly where Bill stepped when the chair moved. As you can see, he steps in between the 4th and 5th wooden plank, right when the rocking chair initiates. Which is about a foot away from the chair. This cord had been wrapped around the chair prior to it moving. Upon review of the video 8 minutes before the chair moved, the cord was in the same spot, not touching the rocking chair. When we headed downstairs, our walkie-talkies had an electrical interference.
Right as they start looking around, something really weird happens. Every time they walk into this one creepy room, their walkie-talkies start making a lot of static noise. It's like TV static but louder, and it fills the room. But as soon as they leave that room, the noise stops. It's as if the room doesn't want them to talk to each other, or something is interfering with their equipment. They think it might be because of some strange electric field in the room, or maybe it's the energy from ghosts. This spooky event is just the beginning. scare them away. As they keep exploring others to see creepy.
Like that. Here, stay right. You say. Turn this one. I'm doing it. Here's yep.
That's upstairs, dude. What if that's up? Why? Maybe look up some tech forums.
Yeah, see if different walkie-talkies do this every now and then.
Yeah, because I've never seen this before. This is weird.
Just walk through this way and see if it's still over. And then it stops like entirely right there.
Yeah.
It's not going off at all.
Moving around erratically doesn't do anything.
Right. Bro, that's crazy.
That's weird.
It's actually going to have an SLS camera built into it entirely.
What the fuck was in here?
What do you mean what the fuck was in there?
Dude, I swear to God, I thought one of you guys were in here.
No.
When I looked over, I thought it was you, Matt, that was in here.
You see someone in there?
Then I looked over, I seen Matt, I thought maybe it was you, Eric. Yeah, I saw somebody in here.
Well,
like standing right over here.
I'm having a deja vu moment right now.
I thought I saw someone standing right there just now, but it's the tripods and the box maybe.
But it was right here.
Dude, I'm having a deja vu moment right now. It's weird. Because I remember you in this situation right now.
Well, here, let's, if you're in here with us, can you give us another sign? Joe just saw you.
We ended our first night with a seance and Ouija board session. This is when I had another personal experience.
A seance is a chilling ritual where a group of people, led by a medium, gather in the eerie glow of candlelight, aiming to breach the veil between the living and the dead. Encircled in darkness, they seek to summon spirits, hoping to communicate with those who have passed to the other side. As the medium slips into a deep, trance-like state, the air thickens, shadows flicker, and an unsettling silence envelops the room. Suddenly, mysterious knocks echo from nowhere. Objects begin to move as if guided by invisible hands, and ghostly whispers fill the air, sending shivers down the spine of every participant. These supernatural occurrences claim to be messages from beyond, turning the seance into a terrifying encounter with the unknown, where the boundary between worlds blurs,
dare you
and the
to let
presence
me
of the
build you
departed
a
feels
completely
alarmingly
free
close.
E-commerce store.
Results for your own channel. Chapter 1, Breaking the Algorithm. Getting YouTube's algorithm to blow up your channel is actually really simple. Here's how it works, explained by the largest creator on the platform.
If people are clicking and watching, then it gets promoted more, and that's all. That's literally all the algorithm does, is reflecting what the people want.
It really is that simple. Success on YouTube comes when you make videos that people click on and watch. The hard part is doing it better than everyone else. But based on my experience with 2 successful channels and my research into the methods of the best creators on the platform, I have created a step-by-step process to take your videos to the moon. In fact, your next video will mark that changing point in your channel if you do everything I tell you to. Chapter 2, a good idea. Messing up in the idea stage undermines the entire video, which makes this step the most important. To start, create a list of whatever you can think of that sounds interesting to people in your niche. Focus on what your niche wants, what they care about, what they're scared of, or even what they're insecure about. The real question here is, what video titles can you craft that address the needs of your audience? Figure out what content will live up to the title later. And that's not even all there is to it. See if you can catch the mistake with this video here.
Warning.
It's about just one single feature that wasn't super interesting. Most people in my niche didn't have a reason to watch this. However, this video was relevant to far more Terraria players because the idea was way more broad. So your ideas can't be super specific. They must be attractive to most people in your niche.
Happened to me.
Finding ideas can be challenging at first, so a little trick that I like to use is just leave all that thinking to the pros. I'll study trends and popular videos from the niche, and then try to take ideas a step further or put some sort of twist on it.
That's cool. Again, so I was close. You were. This.
You're gonna say.
Oh.
Wait, stop. You cannot
Like
make
he would
the
have to be
video
at
just
an
yet.
awkward angle.
You'll see why
To
in
reach out
just a
and step
second.
with his foot.
Chapter
So if
3,
anybody thinks that-
thumbnails and titles.
He would have to be
You
way
still need to
closer.
make the
And it
title and
starts rocking
thumbnail so
before
you
he's
can
even
actually
halfway through this
calculate
board,
the
and then it takes
quality
like
of
another
that
step after
idea.
it's
You see,
already
for it to
started
be a good
dropping.
idea,
Yeah, you
there
said
must
I
be
didn't
at
notice
least
it yet.
one
And
very
then
compelling
my first
reason to click
reaction
on the
was,
video.
I thought it
If you
was
can't
the
figure out a
lighting
way to do that, then
from
maybe you should
everybody's
watch this video
cameras,
here.
you know, and I thought
Or
that the shadow
maybe
was
your
moving
idea
on the wall
just
from the
sucks.
lighting, but it was
If that's the
the
case,
actual
do
rocking.
not
It was the
listen.
chair.
Here's a
See that
video where
clears
it's
down
very
here? We
obvious
just
what
caught
the reasons to watch.
an amazing
For
piece of
starters,
evidence right
you
here.
want to see what liquid sand looks like
After
when it's
witnessing
moving
the
around in a
inexplicable
report. But you'd
movement of
also
the
like to
rocking
know how it
chair,
works and what it
the
looks like
evidence
swimming.
becomes
And for this
undeniable.
video, the reason
The
to watch
Conjuring
is that
house
BizarreRub
is
players
genuinely
love to
haunted.
know about new features,
This
and
paranormal
therefore,
activity,
this video will be
observed
interesting
directly
because
by
it
the
covers
team
a
in
new
the
feature
stillness
to
of the
game.
room,
So the reason to
leaves
watch
no
is to
room
learn
for
about
doubt.
the Oasis and
The
Terraria.
chair,
That is
moving
some
on its own
bullshit.
without any
The reason
visible
to
force
watch
to
can't
propel
require
it,
a bunch of
serves as a
rationalization.
stark
Otherwise,
testament
it's
to
a
the
really
supernatural
good reason.
forces
Nobody
at play
cares about
within
your
the
video
walls of this
until you
infamous
give a
abode.
solid reason to watch
This
it,
chilling
like
encounter
this. Find for
solidifies
yourself
the
the
house's
difference in how enticing
reputation
these two
as a
videos are.
haunt for ghostly phenomena, marking a moment of realization for the
When it comes
investigators
to
that
designing
they
a
are
thumbnail,
indeed in the
it's
presence of
essential to make a
entities from
thumbnail
beyond
that
our
lets
world.
anyone in your niche immediately understand what's going on. You can't rely too much on the title here because most often viewers look at the thumbnail before they look at the title. So don't use a poorly shot photo or an uncropped screenshot. Otherwise, your thumbnail is just too bland and confusing next to all the others. Most YouTubers don't even use a single frame from their video to make the thumbnail. Instead, they take new photos, often piecing multiple together to create an image that most effectively represents the idea of that video. Now for the title, it's the best opportunity for getting a reason to watch. My reason typically comes from titling the video.
I saw him
as a
100%
question, but
come around that
it's also a
corner.
great
It was him
strategy
to a T,
instead
his
give
shirt, his
extra
hat, everything.
context
It was
about your
100%.
Just make sure that the reason to watch is
Dude, that's
still
crazy.
clear.
I saw a
Chapter
doppelganger
4,
of Matt
plan
here.
the script.
A doppelganger
earlier
is
how
a
the
sinister
police
and
described the
mysterious
algorithm? Well,
phenomenon,
think of your
often
entire
considered
scripting
an
process
ominous
as
harbinger
your
of
plan for this
misfortune.
part.
It's the
Making people
ghostly
watch your
double
video
of a living
for as
person,
long
an
as
eerie
possible.
replica that
Even
mimics
something
their
like a vlog
appearance,
where you've recorded
actions, and
everything
behaviors
first
so
requires you
closely
to
that it
consider
becomes
what
nearly
footage you have
impossible
and
to
then
tell
create
the
a
two
storyboard.
apart.
Because without a strong strategy to maximize viewer retention, you will lose viewers incredibly quickly. A great way to think about all this is a big water tank with a leak in the bottom. At the start of your video, you're at a full tank, but it drains quickly, and once it's out, viewers start looking for something better to watch. The only way to keep viewers is to do a little refill by giving value to your audience. Say or do something interesting, something important or helpful, even just make them smile, something like that. Also, be aware that the tank drains at different speeds depending on your audience. Some niches and age groups have an attention span of around 20 seconds, while others can last maybe 2 or 3 minutes. Knowing that, you should spread out your key points of information evenly throughout the video to consistently refill the tank. Start by separating the video into different sections, each with a couple bullet points to list the takeaways. Next, plan out some pockets of dopamine, little edits, montages, or jokes to give the viewer a quick break. Without these, your video flies by way too quickly, which overwhelms the viewer and prevents them from absorbing
walk out and then walk back? And he said, no, not at all. It was him. I saw him exactly,
Do you
but there was
remember
no one
a
there.
minute
I
ago
saw
when
the
I talked
doppelganger
about
of
that
Matt
water
walk
tank?
on the side of
Here's
the
where
building.
it really comes into
that was
play.
last
Once
night
you start
when I come
elaborating
in,
on the
I thought
takeaways
Matt
you
was
just
in there.
listed, explain them
yeah,
as
that was your
simply
initial
as you
thought.
can.
You
A
thought it was
10-minute
Matt.
video that could
And
have
I
been
looked in
3
here and at
minutes will
first,
be so
I only
boring
seen
that
you
the
and
average
Billy,
view duration
so
will
I
likely
thought
be
Matt
just
was
a
in there, and I
minute.
looked-
But flip this around, a 3-minute video, which is so compact that it feels like 10 minutes, will be so entertaining that the average view duration is likely closer to 2.5 minutes. But that being said, trimming down your video too far actually hurts engagement. It makes it feel really chaotic and kind of soulless. So while your wording should get to the point quickly, it should still resemble the spirit of a natural conversation. So make it feel like you're actually talking to the viewer. They should be an engaged listener, thinking about about what you've said and asking questions. If you constantly tell things the exact same way, it gets monotonous. But if you switch it up, sometimes use an analogy or an example, tell a story or ask a question, it makes the video much more engaging. But as you may have noticed, there's now an even bigger problem. You see, with you shortening your videos so much, you struggle to reach that 8-minute mark where the sweet cash comes rolling in. So here's where the really high-level stuff comes in. I like to call it valuable bullshit. I first discovered this when watching a Ryan Trahan video about a soundproof room. I was surprised at first that the video lasted exactly 8 minutes, but while watching, I couldn't help but admire what Ryan was doing. And by the end of the video, I had learned one of the most crucial YouTube strategies. You see, the duration of that video was not a coincidence. His video could have lasted 5 minutes, but he extended it using valuable bullshit. Check this out.
The creator of the world's quietest room is a man named Steve Orfield of Orfield Laboratories. I'm scared of this man for a number of reasons. Not only does he send 2-word response emails, but also Orfield Laboratories literally sounds like the place a Demogorgon would be hiding in the next season of Stranger Things.
It's quick and subtle, but it's funny, and that gives value to the viewer. Also, it builds a more personal connection to who's watching, which makes them stick around with you for longer. All of the ways that Ryan fluffed up his video added something to it rather than stretched out what was already there. Before we talk about just forgetting all of this and letting AI write everything, we need to talk about the most important part of the script, the intro. If you do not take those first few seconds to meet the expectations people had going in, they will stop watching. So take a good look at your title and thumbnail. What made someone click that? What information, what pacing, and what mood are they expecting? Your entire video, but especially the intro, needs to align with those three principles. As for specifically what you say, there is no single answer. You just confirm to them that your video will be what they expected and then immediately start delivering. But please, I am begging you, do not ask for likes, for subscribers, or for money. That is not what they came here for. Now about AI, it is a great tool to help with your script writing. I use it to find better vocabulary, to shorten sentences, and to improve my flow, but I would
Fellas, are y'all
use
talking
it
to Joe to say something real
That's
loud?
because AI is just stupid. It's trained using books and websites, and therefore
No one
writes
said
them the same
anything?
way. But YouTube videos aren't written the same as books. Alright, sure, using
Okay, I gotta
AI
get
is
into this
lazy
other room.
and messes up the video.
Oh
but
my God.
what I'm about to say
That voice
is
was clear
even
as
worse.
day.
And guess what? You probably do it too. I sure
It
did.
sounded like
Back to
Joe
my Terraria
talking.
channel, I would draw out the second
It
half
was
of
that
my
type of
script and
voice.
just kind of half-ass it. While it's true that
I
people
swear it
are
sounded like
more
Joe
likely
talking.
to keep watching the second half if they made it through the first half, they're only more likely to keep watching. But I counted on people staying once they got around
Oh,
to that
that's
halfway
right,
mark.
the
The
mimicking.
writing, editing,
Oh
and
my
everything
God, I
else
forgot
would get
about that.
way worse. Then I put in an outro that gave credits and stuff like that. It took me a while
Holy
to learn that
crap,
there is
and it
no
sounded just
such
like
thing
Joe.
as an outro on
Oh,
YouTube.
man.
Talk about why I hadn't blown up yet. It's because I was
Ooh.
thinking of my channel one video at a time,
I'm gonna
and
listen back,
therefore
'cause I think I was
viewers looked at my
recording
channel the same way,
happened.
one video at a time. But what if they looked at my channel 5 videos at a time? 10 videos at a time. You know, there is no better way to tell YouTube to blow up
Here,
your
wait, I'm
channel
gonna
than to
turn
have
the
people binge your
compressor
videos.
on.
So plan for that. Don't let viewers get bored of you. Keep the second half just as good, and then they're far more likely to watch another of your videos next. Okay, with all of that being said, the most important thing for you to do is to avoid not writing anything because you're just trying to get it all perfect.
Whoa, I think that was
Writing's a
it.
process. It's never going to be perfect the first time. Chapter 6,
I
recording.
caught it! I caught it! I caught
So
it!
about
On the
recording,
Sony
I
thing.
actually recorded my first 2 videos
Right there.
on my iPhone and a blue snowball. And the video is actually really good. What's actually important is to just get as many clips as possible. You can't have one continuous shot of you talking. You need a variety of things for the viewer to look at. For my Terraria channel, I would spend on average 10 hours recording footage just so I can switch the clips every 5 seconds. And yes, it is worth it. The impact on your attention is massive. Chapter 7, editing.
Fellas, what's my time like? Am I at
The core
15
of
minutes?
editing is pacing. You see, the style can be whatever you want, but pacing always has to be as fast
Gotcha,
as
alright, it's time to
possible.
go
To
downstairs.
really give you a sense of what it should be, let's look at the bare minimum. A 90-minute nature documentary. This is a very slow-paced genre, yet at a random point in the film, the video cut to 3 different clips in 15 seconds, an average of 5 seconds per clip. While the style was extremely minimalist, just some background footage, music, and a voiceover, the editing maintained a brisk pace. So if this is just about the slowest editing you can possibly get away with, what does that have to say about your videos, which linger on the same clips for 10-20 seconds? And that's not even to mention the pauses that you make while you're speaking. No one wants to see you staring around trying to figure out what you have to say next. or any part of your video that's just a couple seconds long where nothing's happening, cut that out too. Besides that, the style of editing should match up with the genre of your video and the audience you have. The wrong editing style can really ruin your video. So figure out how the best creators in your niche edit and then learn how to make something similar. Okay, here's the most underrated editing tip ever. Create a variety of how much energy your video gives off. The stark contrast of a hyper-edited section abruptly turning into a mellow A-roll segment forces the viewer to jump back into focus. These changes in pacing keeps the viewer from zoning out. Wait, do you hear that? That kind of like rumbling sound? That's called a riser. Oh, that was a hit. These are just two examples of sounds
I
that
have to
make
go
the
upstairs
video
after
way
this,
more
but this is
immersive.
Eric
Just
from
as
Epic. What do you
important
want to
are
tell us for
transition
tonight?
sounds, ambient sounds, and some Foley sound. Sound design creates a really nice audio experience, which
goodness,
will
that
help keep the
freaking
viewers
heat or
watching for a
something
little
just turned
longer. So I definitely recommend it. I used to use freesound.org, but now I use Envato Elements. And sound effects aren't the only way you can spice up the audio. Rather than throwing in a couple background songs that kind of work, create a more immersive experience by choosing a larger variety of music. A lot of the pacing and mood of a video comes from the music, so find songs that work really well for what you're aiming for. So yeah, that is the basic process, but for someone like you, I think you want something better, so click here for the more detailed version of all of this.
Are taxes still on your to-do list? Get them done for you. We'll match you with the right tax expert for your needs.
Come on.
And
Where are you hiding at, huh?
So yeah, that
If
is
you're
the
a
basic
demon,
process.
Why are some videos irresistible while others are easily ignored?
In this video, we'll uncover the secret strategy used by all of your favorite creators to make their content get millions of views. But that's not all. We're also going to go in depth into how to craft ultimate titles and thumbnails. In my research, I found something that every viral video has in common. What's the secret? They all create at least one captivating reason to watch them.
Physically hurt me.
I'm going to show some videos of popular creators that reveal how they make reasons to watch their videos.
The paranormal drives every fiber of my being. I am riveted by it.
This video
when I
asks a
invite an
simple yet
entity to
intriguing
physically
question,
hurt me,
giving it a
I mean
universal
it,
appeal. Show
especially
this video to a
if it
friend
helps
wide
paranormal
audience and
phenomena
post
to
it.
manifest.
Planting a question in the viewer's mind is the leading method to get them to click. Also, the question doesn't need to literally be written in the title. Like this video, it throws you into the middle of a story, which creates the question of what happens next. Another method is seen in this video, which promises an exciting journey. Everyone likes to see a good story, so that's a reason to watch. This video addresses something interesting. People like to learn about cool stuff. Did you catch the pattern?
I'm standing here
The reason to
offering
watch the video
it.
is
Literally an offering.
For your video, if it takes longer than a second to think of a reason, or if your
All
reason's
this
far-fetched,
talk
then your shit sucks.
and affecting
Titles and thumbnails need to
family
build off
so
one another,
horribly.
not copy each other. Here's what it
And
looks
then when
like
someone
they're
stands
viewed.
up
The
to
title
you,
and thumbnail give the
back
exact same
off.
information. Both tell you that the video is about airplane facts. What's so bad about that?
Most
It's
people
too
would say
slow.
this is stupid
The
what I'm
video's
doing right
information
now.
is given
But
at a
I'm really
snail's
here for
pace.
evidence.
Meanwhile, viewers who may
I'm
have
an
clicked it are
investigator
getting
and want
interested by
evidence,
other
okay?
videos that explain themselves
And
faster.
that's why
Remember,
I made
there's
an
gonna be
offering
10
right now.
other interesting
I'm
videos
giving
next
you
to
that
yours
offering.
at any given time. What successful creators do is they utilize both the thumbnail and the title to give information, and they do it quickly. Take a look. This thumbnail builds off of the title instead of repeating it. It's pretty simple, so it quickly and clearly explains that you should board a plane last. Obviously, that's kind of weird.
After
and
our
therefore
isolations,
develops
we
interest
split
in
up
the video.
into two
There it
groups.
is. There's the
Eric and I
captivating
did
reason to click
another
it, but
seance
there's
session
more.
on the
Next,
second
the viewer reads
floor
the title
because
and learns
of
that
what
there's
I
secrets being kept
experienced
from
in
them.
our
Now
first
they get even
seance.
more interested. They start
Meanwhile,
asking,
Joe and
what
Billy
secrets are
were
they
in the
hiding from me?
basement
Are planes
conducting
more dangerous than
EVP.
I thought? There's now 2 more for a total of 3 questions that the viewer has. This video could be put next to plenty of other videos that also give good reasons to click them, and it would still perform well. That's because it leverages all of its room in the thumbnail and title to create the most intrigue possible. So the goal is to create as many captivating reasons to watch the video as possible. But first, you need people to actually look at the video in the first place, and that is the job of the thumbnail.
Completely
One of the best ways is to put your face in it. That's because expressive faces always grab attention. After all, our eyes are naturally drawn to them. We even see faces in places where there isn't a face.
Faces are great because they act as a spotlight element. That's what I like to call the part of your thumbnail that stands out not just from the rest of the image, but the whole page of YouTube. But while they're the easiest method, faces aren't the only way to create a spotlight on your thumbnail.
Text is a great spotlight element to use. Just like faces, short pieces of text attract people's attention. Just know that to stand out, text should be pretty short, so don't use it to explain anything. Using a familiar object can also be a spotlight element. The channel 5 Minute Crafts uses this method for almost all of their thumbnails. They even take it a step further by doing something really weird with the object, which is what starts creating questions. However, it's often a great choice to keep the thumbnail simple, as it allows the spotlight to be more striking. Take a look at the YouTuber Lemondow's thumbnails. He takes on a minimalistic art style, incorporating 1 or 2 familiar objects which catch your eye, but he's also cheating.